Good afternoon, ladies and berms. Today I'm going to show you the 5 most common body position mistakes and how they're holding you back at the intermediate plateau and what to do with them. All right, let's take a look at body position number 1. So Patrick, this is Patrick. I'm actually going to show these riders doing it the correct way. The first body position that we all know about, but maybe struggle with a little bit, is looking where we want to go. So this is an example of Patrick riding a sweet trek. Patrick is a great rider when it comes to always looking ahead to where he wants to go. So a great way to do an assessment on yourself to figure out, okay, is my looking where I want to go holding me back? What you want to do is pay attention when you're riding. Where are your eyes looking versus where are your hips looking, okay? So this is a bermed corner. Patrick rails it. We're looking good. So the right way to do it is like this, look where you want to go. Now, where the problem is with this particular skill that so many riders face, remember the 6 skill pyramid? Let me show you my mobility and strength process. I have no fancy name for it. At the beginning of the process, this is what really matters. So the first thing, it's not like your body position, it's actual muscle activation. Muscle activation is where you're firing a muscle and that's it. Your brain is literally sending a signal to turn muscle on, okay? So activation is the first thing that happens. And then right next to that, also in blue, is neurological. This is where patterns are formed and your brain has a program that's like, okay, I'm gonna look over here. And here's a program for you to try out. This is the easiest one I got, so I'm starting with it. So stand up or get into a riding position on both feet, and I want you to look. That's it. So all I told you to do was look, and your brain knows what's to do. It's going to turn your body. You're going to be activating muscles in your chest, your back, your shoulders, your neck, your eyes. And when you turn your body, there's a lot more going on than just your eyes looking where you want to go on the trail. So because we have this built-in neurological pattern, we're able to do things on command without thinking about it, okay? So these are the foundation. It's the muscle activation and the patterns of those muscle activation off the bike. And the reason why is because we can separate looking where we want to go from riding a bike. And if you practice this off the bike, it can help you. So does that make sense so far to everyone? I really want to get this point across in a way that you can actually demonstrate. So like do it right now, like get up in your desk, or if you're watching this on a cell phone, like stand up and look and watch how your body follows you. Patrick did a great job of going around this turn, and he's demonstrating looking where he wants to go with his eyes and his head and a little bit with his shoulders, right? This is where a lot of the training that I do with people happens under functional and technical. So functional, that's where your body positions come in. So if you're like, interesting, but what does that mean? I just did a video on this yesterday. You should watch it. It's probably not over here, but you should click wherever it's obvious and figure it out, where I totally dive in deep on the difference between skeletal riding and core riding. It's your ability to get in those positions while firing the right muscles. And then the technical, we're going to talk about that some more right now. So let's have a look over here at a great example of Anthony fully extending his legs on this bump jump practice. So for a lot of you riders, you want to jump higher, right? And so what we need to do is use our body to initiate upward movement. I'm greatly oversimplifying this. This isn't going to help you bunny hop, but one of the main mistakes that I see riders make is they go out there and they push really hard for a moment on the tires, and then they get 6 inches of air where, check this out, look at this guy, he's like leaping up in the air. The reason why Anthony's able to do this is because he's got the muscle activation and the neurological pattern of applying power, hips to hands with the, right here, hips to hands. He's pulling with the bars and he's stretching out his legs, doing a great job, frankly. And what this does is it initiates power for more than just a second, okay? So if you're stuck on the intermediate plateau, one of the things you need to be able to do off the bike is essentially this full extension kind of a jump move. Okay, so a lot of times if you spend 10, 20 years at a desk, this can be really difficult. So it's just I hope this is making sense so far and is helpful. So again, if you're listening to this, the reason why I think you should care about this at all is because, again, there's 40 million mountain bikers in the United States, and mountain biking is a whole lot harder than we are good at it. So we've got some work to do. And if you're listening to this video, I think you're in the right place. Now, one quick ask. My channel's a bit newer. We're growing and we're actually getting a lot of subscribers really, really quickly. I think there were like 20 new ones today. And if you could listen to this, if you love this episode, go ahead and share it with someone you think this would help. That's the most important thing. Body position number 3. This one is really, really tough. I'm kind of going in no particular order here. Body position number 3 that riders tend to struggle with on the intermediate plateau is correctly holding their torso up while turning. So this is John, and I want to show you guys this. This is really awesome. What John is doing here, not only is he looking ahead, he's leaning the bike independent of the body. You've heard this called bike body separation. And what's really incredible about this too is, can you see where John's knees are pointed? Okay. So the problem that a lot of intermediate riders run into when they're trying to ride their bike really fast around corners and do it in a balanced, controlled way is that the reason you can't get in this body position is simply because your core is not holding your torso up. You're using your lower back. Let me point this out. You're going to be using your deltoids. Just in the last video, I talked about this. If you're going around a corner and you feel tension right here in the front of your elbows, if your arms are locked like this and you feel tension in the back right here, and you feel tension right here, that means that you're having to balance using your upper body. And there's some other philosophies out there that I frankly actually agree with. So Lee McCormack talks a lot about how you need to really steer with your lower body. We would disagree on a couple different body position things, but he's right about that. There's Rich Drew. He thinks you should drop your outside foot. I think actually if you have an incredibly strong core, which Rich does, I mean, look at the guy, he's not wrong. I think that it actually is beneficial to drop the outside foot because it makes room for the inside foot. However, John is demonstrating how you don't even need to. Plus, on this trail that John is riding, there's a lot of bumps. And where holding your outside foot down can keep you kind of out of balance is where you're balancing on one foot. I mean, think about it. Wouldn't you rather balance on 2 feet? Here's the thing, though. Everything breaks down if you can't use your core to hold your body up. This thing called a horse stance hold. And actually, this is 2 years ago before I learned that you're supposed to do it with your feet facing the same direction parallel. The principle is the same. I'm holding my body up. My upper body is held up because of what's going on in my deep core right here. It's called the transversus abdominis. Guess what? I'll probably make a video about that next. I'm on a roll here. So the thing is, if you're an intermediate mountain biker and you can't do this, go grab a broomstick, put it on top of your thighs, take a few steps out with your feet, point your feet in the same direction. If you can't balance the broomstick on your thighs without falling forward, you can't do what John's doing right here. It's impossible. I don't care how good your instructor is. I don't care how athletic you are. If you can't support your torso using your deep core muscles, you ain't going to fly around the corner like John here. So that's, again, this is why this philosophy of muscle activation and the neurological process is so important. Okay, can you guys see how this is different from you should work out, you should stretch, you should build strength? There's very specific things that help you in mountain biking that if you can't do them, then you won't be able to ride properly. All right, so let's go on to number 4. Number 4 is fully expressing the range of motion from a tall position to a low position. Sasa here is crushing it for us by getting into the low position. You guys, I mean, everyone talks about the attack position and how you got to get in that attack position. Fact of the matter is that if you ride around like this a lot, you're going to get really tired really quickly. One thing that you got to do is do like Sasa's doing. Now, right here, she's very tall. She's saving a lot of energy. And right here, not only does she does a great job of getting low. Look at this. I call this seat to seat. Seat of the pants touching the seat of the saddle, right? This just helps. If you're not able to get this low, then you can't create enough stability to ride really gnarly stuff. So this can really hold you back. Honestly, this is probably the most important one. I was actually shocked. Sasa did a great job of getting really, really low on the bike. This is actually her evaluation video. So it's not like I even gave her feedback. I was like, hey, get out there and show me what you got. So when you're an intermediate rider and you're kind of stuck on the plateau and you feel like you're going downhill on trails and you're a little out of control, one of the main things you can do is to get lower. And here's the thing, touch your seat to your saddle. You won't be able to do this move, by the way, if you can't do the horse stance hold that I just showed you a few minutes ago. It's important. And the other thing too is when we get low, notice how Sasa's dropping her torso and hinging at the hip. She has beyond a 90-degree back to hip angle right here. So this is really cool. What this allows us to do is, number one, it's to get really stable. Number two, this allows us to feed the bike down if we're going down something. I'll put a demonstration right here. When we need to feed the bike down, this allows us to stay balanced when the trail goes down and away from us. So this is really important because we ride mountain bikes, you're probably going to go downhill. All right, so let's take a look at the fifth and final example of body position mistakes. And the fifth and final one is not using your body as the initiator of movement, okay? So right here I've got Michael correctly sending a pretty sweet jump. Look at that. It's got some air. He's landing nice and equal. Front and back tire timing, and then zipping into a corner. Really awesome, okay? So what most riders do is they come up here and then they collapse. Whether they're doing a roller, I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me, yeah, I can't fix it. Actually, I can. Do this. All right, so can you see Michael's body, how he is initiating upward movement with his body, and then he becomes the counterweight in the air. In other words, the bike is going to come up to him. Most riders do it in the opposite way. If there's an obstacle, right here, they get really low and they collapse. Their face smashes into the stem. Their weight falls forward. And then in the air, they extend away from the bike and push it really far out in front of them and try to, get away from the fear. Michael's doing a great job of showing us how to initiate the movement. Again, I want my body to go in the air, so he's going to jump. Cool. And I want the bike to come up to me so that I don't smash it into the lander. Great. Bring it up to him. And then ride away into the sunset. So what's so important about initiating moves with the body is that we become the pilot. And most riders in the intermediate plateau, the biggest thing I hear from them is, well, I know how to get down the trail. I know how to do the corner. I know how to do the drop. I can do the climb, but I kind of feel out of control or I feel stiff. And this is the reason why. It's because you're leading from a place of you're actually passive. So the trail comes to you, you absorb it if you can, and then you just hold on for dear life. What we need to do instead is not think of body positions. We need to be thinking about, okay, where does the torso need to go? The torso is the heaviest part of our body. So we need to focus on, okay, if the trail's about to go down, let's put the torso down lower first and then put the bike down lower. If the trail's going up, say there's a bump or we want to pick it up and do a bunny hop, let's get the torso up high, like Anthony was showing us a minute ago, and then bring the bike up to us. So what this will do when you're able to, lead your body, for lack of a better term, is that you'll be able to do all these moves that you kind of can do, but you're a little bit stuck on, okay? And when you do that, you end up tapping into a new way of moving that ultimately puts you in the driver's seat, puts you in control. It allows you to relax. That's where a lot of confidence comes from. So my dad used to say that confidence comes from competence. In other words, you got to be good at something in order to feel confident at it. And how do you get good at something? Well, you do it right. And so instead of fighting your own body, I suggest instead, again, separate out the training, train your body to do the right moves. If you can, train the body to do the right moves off the bike, and you'll be in really good shape. That's all I got. Take care. See you on the trails. Bye.